Everybody, all right. Today we're talking about horrible people and who in our life, who in this world does not have horrible people in your life. There are horrible people everywhere. But the bottom line is we have to understand what horrible people look like, and that is what's called a toxic person. Even if you don't, at some point in your life, you're bound to have to come across a person who fits that description. And dealing with a person like that can be very difficult and hugely draining. In fact, it may challenge what you know about yourself and push you to limits. And some of those traits, that you need to familiarize yourself with, because toxic people can really turn your life into actually losing who you are, depending on marrying somebody like that, having a child like that, or having somebody that you work for that's like that. There are people in this world that are just awful human beings. Um, the other thing is there's a lot of people on this planet that have what are called personality disorders. Now, there's personality disorders that are in the Diagnostic Manual for Mental Health. Things like narcissism, antisocial personality, codependent people, sociopaths, people that have schizotypal features, kind of like schizophrenia, borderline personalities. Those dudes, they are a freaking nightmare. The thing about a personality disorder is they do not understand the damage that they do to other people. They think they are completely righteous in how they operate. Narcissists think they are completely righteous in how they operate. And here is the interesting thing. There's things called trans vestites and transgender and LGBTQ. Well, we have to begin to understand that those diagnoses, those are diagnostic problems also. They're personality disorders. They come from their childhood. And many of those issues have mental health associated with it. And a lot of people want to justify their disorders and label them in a way that they're healthy, but they're not healthy. They're horrible and they're very destructive, and they leave a trail of wounds and horrible, horrible pain behind them. But those people are so self-righteous, the narcissist, the borderline personality, the transgender, the LGBT, they all want to just justify their existence in every possible way. As a matter of fact, they want to make it official. Can you imagine having like a narcissist teaching your kids how to be a narcissist in school, reading a narcissistic book about how to be a narcissist to a child in a group? That's the kind of crap we're dealing with these days, that people have mental disorders and they want to manufacture them rather than mitigate them across our children. It is absolutely insane. They will light up Telsa dealerships. They will do whatever the hell they can to get people to pay attention to how stupid and mentally disabled they possibly can, because nobody wants to pay attention to them. The deal is they have mental health problems, and we in this life have to come to grips that there are a lot of horrible people in this world. Toxic people are manipulative. They get people to do what they want them to do. And then what do? They make you feel guilt. They make you feel shame. They make you feel, with their wokey ways, they want to guilt and shame you into how you're supposed to treat them and how you're supposed to cater to their mental disorders. They use other people to accomplish whatever their goal happens to be. Forget what you want. If you're a taxpayer, they're going to use your money to fund some stupid transgender Broadway production in Ireland. I mean, they just have to do whatever they have to do, and they justify it in every possible way that they could justify it. That's what toxic people do. That's what horrible people do. They're judgmental with a big J, a huge J. They're judgmental about anybody that doesn't think the way they do. You have to keep your eyes and your ears open for criticism about you, but what you've done, because you want to know how you've impacted other people, but you do that out of empathy. You don't want to do that out of judgment. Oh, you think that way? Well, you're not supporting my lifestyle, and my life is so much more important than the rest of the world. Yes, these idiots will take every resource in the world to justify their ugly ass and torture everyone else in this life that doesn't agree with them. That's what horrible people do. They take no responsibility for the feelings that they have caused. Rather, their feelings are projected onto you, and you're responsible for every feeling they've ever had. That's what horrible people do. You make me feel. You treated me like this. You did not respect the fact that I am this. You are such a turd. It's so sad, but people that are horrible people are turds. And if you want to be a turd, go lay in the yard. You don't have to be in the middle of my life and the middle of my home. You could be in the backyard, stinking up every way, which way possible, and have at it. Enjoy it, but I'm not going to be an audience to it. And that's what people have to learn, that when you recognize a horrible person, and they may be your spouse, they may be your child, they may be your boss, you don't give them power by honoring their stupidity. You just recognize it and go, yeah, you're a turd. Sorry, you're a turd. It must be a difficult life being a turd, but I'm not going to buy you. You're not my turd. I'm not going to be recognizing your turdly ways and saying, yes, it's all my fault, even though that's what you want me to do. You see, we as people take horrible people. These horrible people love to groom you and manipulate you into believing that they are right. And that's what the whole wokey, crazy ass culture is about, is grooming you to make you believe that they are right. No, they are wrong. They're mentally ill, personality disorders. They have huge problems. They do not fit in the world because of their mental health issues. And until they take accountability for their mental health issues, they are not going to be able to blend in with the population. And that's just the way it is. And there's a lot of resources to help, but you got to want help. These kind of people with personality disorders do not want help. They think they are justified. They think they are just fine. And we have to accept the fact that there are people on this planet that walk the planet with such egos that they have to believe their way of living is the way that all people should understand and justify, even though it has nothing to do with the vast majority of the people walking on the planet. Those are toxic people. And if they want to be an outcast, if they want to be an outsider, they can be an outsider, but they have to remember, I'm not an outsider because of the group doesn't accept me. I'm an outsider because I decided to be an outsider. That's what horrible people do. They want everybody to come to them. They want everybody to come and cater to their ugly ass. And so they can get the attention that they need, but then everybody else is the crazy one and they're not, because that's how they operate. Horrible people want to be the center of your universe and dictate how you think, what you spend money on, how you conduct your resources, where you spend your time. That's what toxic people do. And if you're going to marry one of these turds, you have to understand that your whole life is over. You're done, especially if you're going to breed with them and create kids. Now you're really done. So, yes, if you're going to be married to a toxic person with a personality disorder that takes no accountability for the way they treat people and the way they operate and how much they think their life is normal, even though it's completely insane, if you're going to sign up for that, make peace with it. Otherwise, make new choices. Horrible people are inconsistent. It's hard to know who they're going to be at any given time, because they're often not the same person, because they're manipulative. So they're going to be nice in certain circumstances where they want to get what they want and they think everybody loves their stupid sense of humor and their dumb things that they think are funny. And then they're going to be angry when they're within a room full of people that don't think the way they think, and they think that they're being judged. So they're going to judge them, and they're going to make everybody miserable because they're recognizing what an idiot they really are. And so they make you prove yourself to them. Toxic people make you choose them over someone else. They make you better pick me if you want to be a part of the accepted crowd. If you want to be a good person, you're going to have to accept all these horrible, stupid things about me, that I put lipstick on a pig, and you're going to have to believe I'm a sexy pig. That's how they want you to live your life, delusional. And we're so sucked into social media and sucked into all these forms of listening to people as they, love to megaphone their voice across the world. But all you hear is a sliver of who they really are. Underneath them, they're all just an asshole, just like everybody else. And so the deal is, if you want to believe in all these warped idiot people who think they know what the world should be and what the way that all of you must accept me for who I am type of people, no, we have to accept ourselves first. Unconditional self-acceptance is how to not be a horrible person. That means I'm not like you. I'm very different than you. And I accept all of my flaws and all of my stupid things. That's just who I am. And I respect you for who you are because you're different than me. And that's called maturity. But we don't live in that day and age. We live in the day and age of retarded people wanting to take over the world and tell us all how to live and what words we can say and what media we can watch and what kind of things that we have to accept as normal. They make you defend yourself also. They have difficulty staying on point with certain issues, probably because they're not interested in your point of view whatsoever. They want to make sure that you are understood to be not the majority of people, not a very nice person, not a very accepting person, not a very smart person. If you're not aligned with a horrible person, they are going to put you down in every way, shape, form, or fashion. They're going to destroy you in every possible way. Anything you have, any kind of money you have, any resources you have, they're going to diminish you down to the little thing that they can squash. And they love it when you squeal. So we as people have to understand you're going to have to grow some balls and actually accept the fact that you're a human being for the way you are, and you do not need to live apologetically. Because horrible people want you to live apologetically. They want you to feel bad for being normal. They want you to feel bad for having common sense. They want you to feel bad for who you vote for. They want you to feel bad for what you believe in. You should never feel bad for just believe in what you believe in, but don't expect the whole world to believe in what you believe in. And if it happens to be that a lot of people in the world believe in some of the things you believe in, that's even better. Because the people we vote for should be the one, and actually vote for honestly, not like in Washington where you mail in your votes, where everybody voted for in Washington is a fraud. But the bottom line is, if you had honest elections and honest people running elections, instead of people shoving shit down your throat and making you live in their false realities and teach your kids how to be transvestites, if you didn't live in that world, if you didn't live in the world where you allowed elections to go like that, maybe the majority of people would live with common sense and people that actually knew what the hell they were doing, that were making decisions for the public. They're not caring. Toxic people, they're not supportive. They're not interested in what's important to you. They're interested in what's important to them. And you got to remember that. The good things that happen to move attention away from them and thwart them from focusing on their own goals, you have to be aware of people who find fault with you and make you wrong. And they treat you like you're the enemy. You have to be very careful with people like that. They have mental health issues. Mental health, personality disorders. You're not going to treat a personality disorder with an antidepressant, an antipsychotic medication. No psychiatrist in the world is going to solve a personality disorder because they were cooked in childhood and they think they're right about everything. And even though they're absolutely convulsively, repulsively not normal, but we try to make normal because they're entertaining or they have a little joke or they have a little perspective. So the deal is, you're going to have to realize that you as a person have to accept yourself. And if you can accept yourself with all your flaws and all your good and all your bad, you can actually have common sense and look around at the world and see how different it is and decide what you agree with and what you don't. Toxic people make you want to fix them and their problems. They want to make you highly aware of what torture and suffering they go through, even though they create their own suffering, because they determined they would be an outsider. And they want to make the rest of the world think that they are normal and they are on stage and they are the most important thing in the world. Because when they were little kids, nobody gave a shit about them. And so they want to make sure that the rest of the population of the planet Earth pays for the fact that nobody gave a shit about them when they were a kid. All right, we're going to take a break. We're going to come right back. Welcome back, everybody. Right, we're talking about horrible people. Horrible people are draining. Encounters leave you emotionally wiped out. Time with them is about taking care of their business, which will leave you feeling frustrated, unfulfilled, misunderstood, not heard, not respected, if not angry. Don't allow yourself to be depleted as a result of giving and giving and getting nothing in return. You may feel for them and feel sorry for their little plight and their little bad decisions that they have to, have sex with the same sex, or they got to have something stuck up their butt, or, they got to be dressed like a woman, even though they're a man, or a woman act like they're a man, whatever. Come on. It's mental illness, guys. We all need to fess up and understand that. They're Broadway production, billboard displays that they have mental illness. You watch these activists doing their stupid thing at Columbia and all the protesting and burning down Teslas and using their little tweezers to put Nazi in the door. They're the Nazis. They're the idiots. They're horrible people. They're horrible people. They're protesting because they want attention and they want people to think that they are normal. That's how mentally disabled they are. And you got to understand it. Personality disorders are not going to be treated by medication. They exist on the planet, but that doesn't mean they have to be center stage in your life. If you want to make these people comforted, if you want to save them from themselves, if you want to embrace all of their what they think is normal, you're going to warp your own life and lose your individuality. You have to be aware, especially that the narcissistic toxic person, their modus operandi includes gaining total control of a situation. That means of especially if you're involved, they will demand your undivided attention, attempt to convince you that you need to join their camp. To their way of thinking, they know better than you. They're right, you're wrong. They have all of the answers. And you need to do what they say, especially if they run for office and get elected, especially in some crooked, stupid election like we have across the country in New York and Washington. Relations, and anywhere on the East Coast, relationships, and West Coast, California, Oregon, relationships are also complex. It may not be easy to deal with toxic people until you have learned from previous interactions. You have to understand that many relationships, especially familiar ones, are more difficult because it's not easy to close the door and say goodbye. But you have to have boundaries. This is what I can do to have this person that's my life. This is what I can't do. This is my level of tolerance. This is not my level of tolerance. You're going to have to draw a line. Even if it's your mommy and your daddy who raised you, You got to go for healthy, guys. You got to break away. But these personality disorders can never admit they have a personality disorder. They think what they are doing is totally healthy, totally normal, and totally right. And they believe that their ass is greater than the rest of the human race. And they think that their ugly ways are the ways that the world should follow because we have this innately within ourselves. Yes, we have a lot of evil within ourselves. And if you want to exhibit it, it's really not very hard to tap into your inner stupidity and exhibit that all over the human race. But it's mental illness. And we have to remember that. So when you're looking at it, go, oh, those are a lot of mentally disabled people. There's a lot of personality disorder. There's a lot of narcissistic people in this world. Yes, because we have social media and we have media and movies and all kinds of things that reinforce narcissism, especially to the more extremes. You go into this narcissistic feature of transgender people trying to tell our kids what sex they're going to be and putting them in our schools and try to convert them to their mental disorders. LGBTQs have mental problems too, and there's personality disorders in that. Their gender identity. Come on, guys, wake up. These are problems. We as people in this human race have to recognize there are personality disorders all over this planet because we over communicate them and we exhibit them because we thought they were entertaining, but they're not entertaining because now they're in control. Draining, unsupported, difficult people are one of life's greatest challenge. And what we have to do is we have to recognize what it is and to what level we want it to play in our lives. Toxic people can become in many forms. You know, they love to operate off guilt and shame because they want to make you feel that you make them feel all kinds of different ways. No, because you like to be a man wearing a dress, I don't endorse you. I'm sorry. You're ugly and it's stupid and you're a child and you're having a problem and you need to go work it out. But if you have to wear your little clothes and take it up the butt with somebody, go do that. Have a good time. If you're an adult, have a good time and go do that. You're entitled. But that doesn't mean that the rest of the world has to wipe your ass. You know, we have to understand that, you know, a person who becomes a package with someone else in your life, if you're going to tie yourself to other people, you have to be very careful what you're tying yourself to. If you're going to tie yourself to a human being, you want to know what you're tied to. If you're marrying somebody or in a relationship with somebody who's an indecisive person, who changes their mind constantly, who is very insecure, not a good person to be with in your life, not a good person to breed with. Put a rubber on, put some birth control in there. Don't breed with them because all you're going to do is create a more corrupt gene pool based on them trying to make their kids be just like they are. Indecisive people are not adults. They're children. They don't make choices. They don't even know what the hell they want for dinner. I don't know. What do you want? Because they want everybody else to take responsibility but them. That is a problem. That is a personality disorder. Indecisive people. Mental health problem because they cannot make decisions. They don't know how to be an adult. Therefore, it is very hard to live with them because you don't know how to love them. That's why it's a great relief when your kids go, I want to be a doctor. I want to be a lawyer. I want to go to this school. I want to do that. Now I know how to love them. The more decisive people are, the better we have of an opportunity how to love them. But then there's these idiots that, oh, I want to do this. No, I'm not in the mood to do that. I want to do that. Oh, I'm totally into this. This is what I want. Then 2 days later, oh, that's not what I want. I want to do. That's called mental illness. People that can't make their freaking mind up, it's mental illness. And you need to recognize that as toxic. And you, in your operating system of your life, need to understand that these dudes do not need to be center stage, and I do not need to place my self-worth in their idiotic mental illness. They can just walk the planet and do their stupid and live their stupid and be stupid and have a good time. But I don't have to be a part of it. Have you ever been talking to someone who keeps interrupting you? That's another mental illness. There's a toxic person. There's a horrible person. People that love to hear themselves talk instead of you. People who have no ability to listen, which is most of people with mental illness, most of personality disorders. They love to take center stage, and their opinion has to be the only opinion on the planet Earth. That's a horrible person. You need to recognize that. You don't want to have anything to do with people like that. Put them in their place, decide where they're going to be in your life, and move on. Don't avoid them. Boundaries around them. I can deal with this, but I can't deal with that. I'm sorry. You got your little crazy, crazy. Do your crazy, crazy. I don't have to be a part of your crazy, crazy. And if you want to judge me, that's your problem. Then there's these people that want to put you in a straitjacket. They want to control everything and everyone around them. People that are personality disorders are generally Broadway productions. They love to get attention. They love to have their little opinions. They love to go off and do their little passive aggressive things like destroy property or treat people badly or talk badly or gossip or act like idiots, when they're not in front of you. And even when they are in front of you, especially if they have the real personality disorders, they love to get in front of a mic and be real total asshole. Because they think they're the most important people in the world. That's why it's mental illness. Transvestites think they're the most important thing in the world. And if you don't believe in their transvestitism, you're crazy. And the LGBTQs, if you don't believe in me taking it up the butt, you must be crazy. I was born a man, but I'm now a woman, and I have to live like. Give me a break. It's freaking mental illness. It's gender identity problem. Something in your childhood happened. Take some accountability for it, own it, and go into your life and figure it out. That is what we need to be saying. But unfortunately, all of us pussyfoot around these people and give them tons of power, including dictating our government, our lives, our taxes, our children, our schools, our governments. We spend billions of dollars on these idiots for no reason at all. But that is how the human race operates, because we want to be tolerant. We want to be kind. We know you got problems. We know you got issues, and we want you to, but you need to deal with it, not us. It's not our ownership. It's your crap. You got to own it. You don't put it on us. People that want to put you in a straitjacket, they say things like, you should do it my way if you want it done right. Why don't you ever listen to me? You need to change how you think about this. I know what's best for you. They want to be right. And, God bless them for wanting to be right. That's great. But they're not. There's tons of mental illness. The problem is mental illness is not tangible. You can't see it, but you can see it in their behavior. You can see it in how they exhibit themselves. You can see it in how they present themselves, how the whole world revolves around their ugly ass. These are toxic people. You've got to recognize that in your life if you want to live a healthy life. And you've got to minimize their role. If it's your mommy, if it's your brother, if it's your sister, it's a spouse, if it's an ex-spouse, if it's your children, minimize the role in your life. If it's your children, love them until they can become adults. And if they got to do their stupid toxic and they got to put on their stupid clothes and do their stupid thing and take it up the butt, whatever they got to do, let them do it. God bless them. They're adults. They have the right to be mentally ill. But that doesn't mean you have to fix them. And it doesn't mean you have to subscribe to their life. It takes they also there's other toxic kind of people. They're intensely jealous. They're jealous of your relationships with other people. They want you to be loyal to them. They're inflexible. They refuse to compromise or consider other options. They insist that everything revolves back to their opinions and that they're right about everything. They also have isolation tactics. They want to cut you off from the media, from friends, from family, from anything. They want to toxically cut you out and so you cannot have an opinion, and that their opinion is the only opinion. These are horrible people, guys, and we've let them run our lives for years. And we need to put them in their place and understand they're mentally ill people. They walk the planet. They are at least 35%, if not 50% of our population. And you need to put them in their place so that they take accountability for their life and their decisions instead of you having to own their mental illness. Because mentally ill people can't take accountability for their own life, especially personality disorders. They won't take accountability for themselves. They're going to make you take accountability for them. You can't be. And our government can't do that. And they can't run our government, make the taxpayer pay accountability for their stupidity. We're not responsible. They are. That's called adult life. But they won't step into it because their penis and their vagina run everything. Nothing ever goes right for me. That's another guilt trip you're going to hear from a person that has a toxic personality. You won't believe how awful my day was. Why does this always happen to me? I can't even catch a break. You know, they do all kinds of things that set themselves apart as if they must be heard and they must be right and everybody else is wrong. People that are toxic, you have to set emotional boundaries. You politely limit the time you spend with them in their complaints. That means you don't want to offer them sympathy. You want to offer them empathy. You know, I'm sorry you have to present that way. I'm sorry you need these crazy things in your life. I'm sorry life must be so difficult for you. I'm sorry people don't understand you in this way. I'm sorry that the vast majority of the population doesn't agree with you. There's a lot of the population that doesn't agree with me. You know, we have to set ourselves in this world that we're not responsible for other people's problems. They are responsible for how they feel. You are not responsible for how they feel. You also have to encourage solutions. You know, what do you think can improve the situation? What could you do to make this a better situation? You know, the things you have to do is stay positive. Accept the fact that they're mentally ill. Understand the fact that they're mentally ill. That's a good person. Understand, accept, but don't elect them into freaking office and have them running your school system where you're training your kids to be transvestites. Come on, guys. What the hell's wrong with you? Also, constant complaining. They rarely have anything positive to say. They focus on negative aspects of every situation because they have no solutions because their brain is all limited to how contaminated the world is for not accepting them. They are totally off base because it's really hard to love people that don't love themselves. It's really hard to have a steady life if you don't have a good relationship with yourselves. If you're a man and have to dress up as a woman, it is obvious there is no peace in your life. You got some problems there. And everybody has to know about it because they have to be in the elevator and pretend like you're a woman, and though you're the ugliest man they've ever seen in their life. You know, they drain your energy. They feel emotionally exhausted and drained after interactions with these kind of people. They have this victim mentality with no solutions. They constantly see themselves as victims in circumstances, but they don't take responsibility for anything. They just want to destroy what anybody healthy has and suck the life out of them. As a matter of fact, there's so many kids and people that in their 30s and their 40s and their 20s living with their parents and actually existing off their parents' retirement because they don't know what the hell to do with their life and they can't make decisions, but they sit on social media all day long at the dime of their parents telling the world how it's supposed to operate, even though if you dropped them in a jungle, they'd be dead in 3 days. You know, Eeyore is a classic example in Winnie the Pooh of an emotional moocher. Constantly negative, constant pessimism, drains the energy out of everybody around him. That is a personality disorder. We all have to identify it and understand it as not healthy. Some toxic people are magnets for drama. Something is always wrong, always. And of course, once a problem is solved, another one emerges. They're never happy. Empathy, sympathy, support, only for people that align with their beliefs. That's how toxic people are. They don't care about hearing another opinion about somebody else. What they care about is if you agree with me. That's the ingredients of a toxic person. They do not have empathy, sympathy, or support for others. They don't care about the vast majority of the human race. They care about themselves and manufacturing their solution for life as the way life should be. And the only thing that they want is codependent people in their life that they can groom, because the vast majority of the population of planet Earth are other people, are people who can be groomed because they don't like conflict. So they love those people. They love them because they just let them have whatever the hell they want just to avoid conflict. The drama magnet says things like, "You don't believe what happened to me. Why do these things happen to me? I just, that they're always victimizing themselves. You have to communicate limits. I can listen to you for a few minutes, but I'm not always going to agree with everything you have to say. All right, we're going to take another break and we're going to come right back. Welcome back, everybody. We're talking about horrible people. A jealous, judgmental person is a toxic person. You can spot a judgmental, jealous person from miles away because everything is unsatisfactory to them. They are a bottomless pit of expectations and demands that can never be met. And if you're going to tie your life to a turd like that, you're probably going to sink to the bottom of the ocean, never to gasp another breath. Everyone else is awful in a judgmental person's mind. Everyone is uncool, lacking in some way, doing things the wrong way, having the wrong judgment. They don't care about a person's intentions. They don't care about what makes a person do what they're doing. They don't care how a person arrived at a decision. All they care about is the decision they made and what an idiot they are and how wrong they are compared to their wonderful judgment of the world. They think they hold court for the human race and that they're here to judge the human race because of their superiority. Now, they would never admit that. They would never admit how toxic they are. They think they're the most wonderful, funny person in this whole world. No, they're snarky, sarcastic, nasty people who underneath have a personality disorder, a mental illness. Judgmental people judge to keep other people away. If I can keep everybody around me spinning, if I can keep everybody around me off balance, nobody's ever going to realize how crazy I am. They love to create turmoil. That's what the wokies do. They create turmoil everywhere. They spin turmoil all over this world. They love that because that distracts you from realizing what stupid things they're doing with our money. You also have to avoid engaging in gossip. They love to gossip. Judgmental people love gossip because they want to make other people look horrible. They want to make other people, they want to take one word out of anybody's sentence and turn it on that person. They have narratives about every human being on the planet, and they're going to find evidence no matter if it's 0.001% of what a person has done or communicated to validate their perception of those people. That's how they do it. It's so funny when Elon Musk was waving to people and it looked like a Nazi salute. A huge population of the mentally ill people on this planet thought it was a freaking Nazi salute. It wasn't. He was waving at people. Unfortunately, if they would have watched the whole tape, they would have understood it. But no, they had to see that one little gesture, and they took that gesture and they manufactured that into he's a Nazi. It's sickening how people operate, but they will take a narrative and they will find evidence to prove what that narrative is, and they think they have all of the truth on the planet and just enough information to judge, judge, judge. Judgmental people are horrible. They don't like courts. They don't like justice. They don't like fairness. They don't like common sense. They want everybody to align with their ugly ass and their nasty judgment. And if you give them a mic, they're going to take it and they're going to shove it down your throat. There's a lot of liars in life. People lie, and here's why they lie. Things happen. Emotionally, people react to the things that happen to them, and then how they remember what happened is based on what they walked away and felt. So all of their memory of events, all of your memory of events in your life, especially negative ones, are going to be concocted based on what you were left feeling. Then you're going to remember everything you can to validate the way you felt about the event in your life. And that's how we remember things. We remember them through emotions. We have an emotion, and then we justify the emotion by taking little segments of what happened and validating why we feel the way we feel. Because we have to feel like we are stable, we are rational, even if we're not. Also, toxic people say things like, I never said that. I was just about to say this. You must have misunderstood me. They say this kind of crap all the time. And the truth is that what they owe you as a normal, healthy human being is, I can see how you see it that way. I can see how you understand that. I see how you can see me like that. I know you think I'm a total jerk. I can see how you think of that. You see, that's called validation. And we're all supposed to give each other that. When you deal with fibbers, you've got to validate fibbers. That means that you may know they're lying to you, but you want to understand that there's a feeling that's coming from something that they're talking about. If a kid is talking about when they actually hit some other child, what they're going to do is collect evidence of what happened. Instead of talking about hitting another child, they're going to talk about what the child did to them, why they felt that way, what happened. Everything is going to be about justifying their feelings. That's what liars do. They justify feelings that they walk away from after events. And what they want to do is make a testimony based on how they feel. That's what all of us do as human beings, and we owe each other empathy to understand that your memory is going to be a construct based on how you felt emotionally. You also have to trust your gut. And if you're going to be around people with personality disorders, you need to have good intuition that says, hey, something wrong with this person. They got some big issues. I don't know what they are, and I'm not living their life, and I don't need to live their life, and I sure as hell don't need to subject my life to their stupidity. That's what we all have to do, because mental illness is mental illness, but that doesn't mean you have to join the club. You want to join a club of rational, normal thinking, functional thinking. We are here to survive in this life. You're not going to survive very well if you are delusional and you want to be a woman as a man. You're not going to survive very well in this life if you're homosexual, because you're not going to be able to have a family and breed unless you go to the labs and do what they all do. Of course, they do that. You're not going to have a normal life. You're going to have difficulty functioning. A lot of people do have difficulty functioning because they want to justify their feelings. They want to feel normal. They want to have their community, and you're entitled to it if you're mentally ill, if you're bipolar, if you're a narcissist, if you're transvestite, if you're LGBTQ. Go join your club and reinforce your club. But don't shove your club down everybody's throat. Live in your little club, have a good time, do whatever the hell you got to do to make yourself happy, and leave everybody else alone. Stop making us try to join your stupid club. We also have to set consequences. Make it clear, what is unacceptable. I can see where you're coming from, but it just doesn't need to be a part of my life. It doesn't need to be on my side of the fence. I can see why you got to do what you got to do. Go have at it. Be what you got to be. Do what you got to do. But I do not have to be a part of it. There's also inconsistent stories. People that are manipulative, horrible people love inconsistent stories. They change the story left and right and center They do whatever it takes to make themselves look better. That's what they do because they're manipulative. Also, defensiveness. Defensiveness and aggressiveness is another tactic. I didn't say that. You're just being mean. You're just saying this. No, you don't understand. I know the truth. You don't remember. This is how it happened. Defensive people are creeps, and there's lots of them. If you're a mature adult and you want to be a mature adult and you want to be mentally healthy, you have to understand that the world does not see things the same way. Your partner does not see the world the same way. You have to understand they come from a different perspective. Your children come from a different perspective. Your parents come from a different perspective, and they're entitled to their different perspective. And mentally ill people are entitled to their perspectives too. You just have to go, yeah, I can see how you see it that way. I understand. You don't have to be defensive. You got to listen. What we're here to do is listen our way through life, not talk your way through life. People that are toxic, people that are horrible people, talk their way through life and do not listen. There's also the people called a tank, and they crush everything that's in front of them. They believe they're always right. They can't take anyone's ideas, anyone's feelings, anyone's concerns into account. They get into a position of power and they will mow everything down. And people that are tanks are not always good listeners. Now, some people believe that people are tanks that are willful. Willful people are great because willful people know how to survive. Willful people listen to other people. Willful people take action on healthy things in their life. That's not a tank. A tank is a person with a warped perspective that has to do warped perspective things, like burn down Tesla dealerships. That's what tanks do. They have a point of view, and anybody that doesn't agree with their point of view, they mow them down. They like to tell people why they're wrong. They like to tell them why they're wrong because they believe they have the only ownership of the truth in this life. They're horrible people because they don't listen. Listening is a gift. Listening is what we are here to do. That's how we survive, is listening to each other and understanding what works and what doesn't. We are in a consultative life. That means we have to care about each other. We have a consultative existence, which means we have to seek resources that help our life to live better. But we have to have perspective doing that. And you better the hell know what a mental health problem looks like, because they're all over the place. And if you don't know what the hell they look like, you don't know how to set boundaries. You also have to stand your ground. But that means you have to accept yourself, that I'm different than you are. I think differently than you do. And I'm sorry that you don't agree with me. And I don't expect you to agree with me. I'm just letting you know that what you're doing doesn't integrate into me. It's not my thing. It's not why I'm here. It has nothing to do with my purpose. It has nothing to do with my passion. And it has nothing to do with my priorities. It's yours. Merry Christmas. Have a good time. You want to limit your interaction with toxic people. That's a huge, huge thing to do. You also have to watch out for these kind of people, especially if they have an opinion, especially if they're an advocate of some kind, like these idiots at Columbia University and all these protesters that want all the Gaza people, whatever. They want all the terrorists to win. If you want to live in that world, they love to dominate. They love to make decisions without consulting other people because they think they are so smart and so right. They're going to shove it down the rest of the human race, whether you want it or not, because they think I did all the work. I know all the facts and you don't. You didn't study what I did. So I know how the world's supposed to be. And so they love to dominate. They love to dismiss anybody with ideas that may be well thought through and actually has an argument against them. They don't want to listen to arguments. They just want to be right, and they want everybody to align with them. You have to understand, people with personality disorders love other people with personality disorders because they validate their narcissistic tendencies. Narcissists love to validate narcissists. Borderlines love to validate borderlines. Transvestites love to validate transvestites. LGBTQs love to validate LGBTQ. They create parades and events and conventions, and they love to do all that crap because it makes them feel normal. And that's great, but it's mental illness that's not getting any better. It's reinforcing itself to the point that it's trying to take over the world. People thrive on drama. A lot of toxic people love drama because drama is a distraction, and drama will make them feel correct. Drama helps them make their case. And if they can make their case, then you're going to start believing them. And now they can be a part of the in crowd. Now they can be normal. If you guys want to make mental illness normal, we're going to all die. We're going to be done. You're destroying your children's life by buying all this mental health crap in this world. If you want your children to be warped, if you want to destroy the human race, keep buying the wokey garbage and all of the mental illness that is congregating out there and wanting to run the world, because they all believe that they are the healthiest thing on the planet, even though they're the sickest thing. Call sick. Understand what mental illness is. Understand it's sick. I'm not a part of it. That is not what I want representing my life. You can have it. You can live in it. You can do whatever the hell you got to do to make yourself feel better, but don't shove it down everybody else's throat. You can shove it down each other's throat because you can, I guess, kind of like that. You know, constant rumor spreading is another way these guys operate. And betrayal of confidence. They love to take information that is going to justify their position and make you look bad. They love to make people look bad that are on the other side of an opinion. They love to destroy people and just completely mow them down if they found that they made a bad decision or did something wrong. They love that, even though their whole life is wrong. They want to make that one thing that healthy person did wrong and just exhibit that to the whole world as if that's the way it is. This is why you don't listen to those people. This is our media. These are the people that actually talk to the mass majority of the population of planet Earth, is the idiots that have mental illness that think that they have the truth that we all should understand. They are warped, they have narratives, and they want to shove it down your throat. And if you don't get it and you don't understand it, you're going to buy mental illness and you're going to become it. And we don't need that in this world. We have children, we have families, and we have a world to look out for. All right, that's our show. I want to thank everybody for listening. I love hearing from you. You could do that on our webpage at Libsyn, LIBSYN.com, Dr. Gary Bell's Absurd Psychology. Now, remember, you can't put a flower in an asshole and call it a vase. Also, being around horrible people is like driving with a flat tire. Hell is empty and all the devils are here. That's Shakespeare. Also, you have to accept the truth and stop wasting time with horrible people. Thanks for listening, everybody.